murder investigation that is leading authorities down a dark path. The suspect, 27-year-old Jason Thomas Scott, a college graduate studying for a master's degree. Maryland police say he is also a killer, whose victims include two pairs of mothers and daughters. Scott, they say, studied police forensics to learn how to hide his crimes using bleach and arson to destroy evidence, and the database from his job at UPS to identify potential targets. Pierre Thomas has the story on a cerebral serial killer suspect.
The horror began at this home on January 26, 2009, as an intruder neutralized the alarm system and slipped in. Karen Lofton, a 45-year-old nurse, was fatally shot as she tried to hide in this corner. Her 16-year-old daughter was repeatedly shot as she frantically dialed 911 from her bed. Police were perplexed. The doors were locked. No signs of forced entry. Neighbors were terrified.
So when they catch him out, we'll be afraid.
2 months later, the bodies of Dolores DeWitt, 42, and her 20-year-old daughter Ebony were found in a burning car less than a mile away from the Loftons' home. Another nurse and a daughter killed.
I'll tell you that Mr. Scott presented us with a very challenging ability to identify him as a suspect.
Today, this man, Jason Thomas Scott, was charged in the murders of the DeWitts, and the chief of police here is convinced he is responsible for more.
Here's a mother and daughter in a very quiet community where we don't see this type of violence. Yes, we have had some burglaries here, but again, we're saying the way the crime scene is left, very troublesome. It does not tell us so much about what is occurring. There's things that don't make any sense on the crime scene, but so we're beginning to wonder what we have here.
There were similarities in the crime scenes, but also stark differences. The Loftons were murdered in their home in what appeared to be a controlled, planned execution. The DeWitts may have been killed in a random act of violence, perhaps a carjacking. And then there was Velma Butler, killed and left in this burning house. 5 murders in 9 months.
On a number of those scenes, a lot of those things are actually utilized to mask the scene and to throw the police off.
I understand an FBI profiler came in, looked at the Lofton case and looked at the DeWitt case and said, there's some things that don't quite add up here. It might be totally separate cases. How confusing was that?
It was very confusing.
The residents of suburban Maryland knew something horrible was happening.
I have daughters who are driving now, and I'm afraid for them. I tell them to lock their doors when they get in the car. I don't want them walking alone at nighttime.
The police got a break when Thomas was arrested last July in this UPS parking lot after ATF received a tip he was selling weapons out of the trunk of his car. He was charged with selling stolen weapons, including assault rifles and silencers. The investigation eventually led police to this vacant mansion that they suspected served as the thieves' lair. It was there that investigators found evidence linking Thomas to the murders of the Loftons and DeWitts. Scott is 27 years old. He's a college graduate and is pursuing a master's degree in computer science. He also worked at the UPS, and law enforcement sources say he may have used the company's database to help select victims.
Again, he utilizes the employment to methodically identify his victims. So again, he had inside information. He knew a lot about his victims. He studied our response, the way we investigated crime. So he managed to actually throw us off and disguise the crime scene based on his knowledge of police investigations.
Scott allegedly used bleach to clean his crime scenes, arson to destroy evidence, and changed the location of bodies to confuse police. He also studied other serial killers. Neighbors who have known Scott for years say there were hints early on that he might be a predator.
Most of the problem started when he was around 10. It started him being a peeping Tom, leading to videotaping people, and leading to breaking and entry. We never knew that he was going to commit murder.
We believe that he has committed significant amount of crimes, not only arson, burglaries, stolen vehicles, but additional murders that I think is going to go beyond the boundaries of Prince George's County.
Police worry Scott might be responsible for other unsolved homicides in D.C., Texas, and Florida, other locations he's known to have frequented. There are about 40 unsolved murders in his home county, which will also be looked at again.
I look at his MO. I look at his psyche. I see that this individual appears to enjoy committing crimes. I see the way he has murdered individuals. I'm looking at these of a number of crimes that may be associated with this individual. In my experience, 30 years of policing, I've never seen such type of criminal in our midst.
Rosa Smith, Dolores DeWitt's mother, still can't understand.
To do this without knowing a person, and you can be so evil, knowing a person, not knowing a person, and you want to do this. That's sad to be so evil.
The question tonight is whether there are more victims and more evil. For Nightline, I'm Pierre Thomas in Prince George's County, Maryland.